Hey guys, how's it going? Liam here. Watch Dogs Legion is another Ubisoft title that has arrived on Steam, so like previous releases, I've been giving it a run through on the Steam Deck. There are some things to note. First of all, it's a big game, and so you're going to need plenty of free space at around 110GB, and it also has Denuvo anti-tamper. So be careful swapping Proton versions, and especially if you're moving between different PCs and Steam Deck, you don't want to get locked out for a day. Now, thankfully, it does run out of the box without any major problems, unlike the recent Breakpoint release where you needed to edit a file. Ubisoft Connect again doesn't really cause any fuss to get into the game, and it happily detects that I've synced Steam and Ubisoft from previous Ubisoft games, so there was no problem there. One issue does present itself right away, which is Ubisoft Connect complains in the corner of the game about an out-of-date driver. Now, it's a false check, of course, because this is a Windows game designed to run on Windows, being run through a translation layer. What I would suggest is loading up Ubisoft Connect from the main menu, going into the settings and just turning off all notifications so you don't get pop-ups like that. And a quick note, some people in my comments get confused on these gameplay videos, so perhaps I should explain a bit more often that this is a full screen game capture with a USB capture card, and obviously the quality of the image is going to be better directly on the Steam Deck screen at the lower resolution that the Steam Deck uses. I'm just not a fan of pointing a camera at a Steam Deck and recording like that. Anyway, I've been running it with Proton Experimental because at this point the normal main Proton 7 is pretty outdated. And after messing with the graphics settings for quite a while, I've come to the conclusion that it's just a tough game on the hardware, and getting it into a stable frame rate is not all that easy. To give an example of the differences between the graphics APIs, here is a benchmark on medium preset between DirectX 11 on the left and DirectX 12 on the right. In this case, DirectX 12 was actually a huge amount smoother overall with the improvements to basically all parts of the game, so I would definitely recommend that you actually stick to DirectX 12 with Watch Dogs Legion. Otherwise, on DirectX 11, you're going to see a lot more stuttering and just a lower frame rate overall. Now, I must admit, I was actually surprised at this because the DirectX 12 work in Proton is still ongoing, and it's nowhere near as mature as the lower versions of DirectX in Proton. And testing through multiple games before, DirectX 12 doesn't usually perform this much better. So it is a good example of how far Proton's translation on Steam Deck has come. Really though, in Watch Dogs Legion, you are looking at 30 frames a second locked. Otherwise, the bouncing up and down is badly noticeable. This is generally true for a lot of bigger open world games on Steam Deck, as they're not often optimized for the lower end outside of just letting you change a few settings. Although there are certainly exceptions to that, this game just struggles to hit 40 and stay at 40 no matter the settings used. So you might as well keep to the medium preset and get a reasonable picture quality and lock it to 30 frames a second using the in-game frame limiter to get the best overall experience on Steam Deck. Now, some really small contained areas can end up pushing up to 50 FPS, but it's few and far between. Sticking to 30 FPS on Steam Deck here is just mostly the best way to experience it overall. However, like a lot of games, it will drop a fair bit as you drive around and travel the open area when it needs to load new stuff in. This happens in most open world games. It's quite normal to see, but over time it does get a lot smoother, but you will still have those momentary drops when it loads in new areas. Now, I do have to admit, I actually hadn't really played the Watch Dogs series myself before, although I've seen others play it. Friends speak highly of it. I've been with friends whilst they've been playing it when I've been over their houses. And I always thought it looked pretty good, but now I've actually played a whole bunch of it myself. I actually think it is really quite cool and I've been enjoying it. The mixture of a Grand Theft Auto-like open world with lots of hacking and just loads of things that you can mess with is just a huge amount of fun. It's a big open playground to go and mess with people. And of course do some missions. The online mode works just fine as well. I tested that, although it can take quite a while to find a match just because the online player base on this game is not very big. Overall though, I'm pretty impressed with Watch Dogs Legion on Steam Deck, and I think it's a good one for you to pick up if you like this type of open world game, and personally I'll be happily spending a lot more time with it. That's it for this game test report. Be sure to like and leave a comment telling me what you think, and I'll catch you guys later.